upside down and shaking all around. They see no end inside. I thought I was losing. I remember what you say. You've got a place for me. Protection from the storm. It's you I'm choosing. You've got a love so pure. It pulls me in for sure. It's all consuming. Your gentle lovingness washes away my mess. It proves you truly love the real me. Behold the beauty of the Lord. Oh, it washes me whiter than snow. Oh, this I know for sure. Your love, it makes me pure. Come wash over me and make me clean. Behold the beauty of the Lord. When I wanna run away, you gently reach for me. You set me up so high, I have no worries. You did not hide your face, did not turn me away. Of you, Lord, I will sing and tell my story. You've got a love.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Recovery Unplugged Live. I'm John Spalding from June NBC Live. We have the host of the show, Amy Leigh McCorkle, down here. And over here, this way, whoops, let me get my finger going the right way. We have, you got to turn that down so I don't get any reverb, whoever that is.
That was me.
I know who it was. I know who it was. We have minister, filmmaker, CEO, editor, all-around good guy from from Walkstar, David L. Walker. How are you tonight, sir?
I am doing fantastic. How you doing?
Awesome, awesome. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me on the show.
Sure. No, we appreciate you being on. We're looking forward to hearing more about you, your journey, your creative journey, your ministerial journey, and your work. So thanks for coming on. Amy, look at that background. That is, you have a, is that a dress? Are you wearing a dress?
That's a nightgown that has coffee cups all over it.
Dude, you didn't tell David and I it was like pajama night.
Yeah.
You could have at least lied and said it was like a nurse's scrub that someone left at your house or something.
You know me, I don't lie.
That's true. You cannot. You haven't. It's
not very good.
It's good to have an inability to lie. But your background looks nice. Looks very professional. I see the book down there. Got your awards behind you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've got a special picture from
from the closing.
Yeah.
Last day of filming. Brandon and I were already on our way back to Kentucky.
Yeah.
Or back to Ohio from Kentucky.
Yeah, unfortunately. I wish you could have been there the last day, but it was, you were there for pretty much every other day. I think you were there for 4 days of 6, so...
Yeah.
You did your...
It was fun.
You did your due diligence. You were king of the secret.
Thank you. Sorry, look at that. I opened my phone too and could hear it. We're all live tonight. We're live. So, what's new in your world, Amy, before we interview David?
So, we didn't win anything, but it's the Faith in Film, a film festival.
Mm-hmm.
We were nominated for Best Dramatic Film, Best Lead Actress, and that was Megan. Best Supporting Actress, which was Jenny, who, played Misty, and Brandon for Best Supporting Actor.
Nice. Where was that?
Nice.
Where was the Faith in Film Festival at?
Tucson, Arizona.
Okay.
I did not go. Because I'd already been to Branson, where everything just went boom, kaboom, kaboom, kaboom. And then we went to ICFF, where we also just made good connections and had all around good times. And actually, you'll get to Isaac Hernandez, who I interviewed a couple of weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to be there. So.
Okay. Cool.
And I'm trying
What
to
else?
think of what else. Just lots of, production. we're gonna do the Recovery Unplugged talk show as opposed to the Recovery Unplugged live podcast,
Mm-hmm.
and we're going to do three or four episodes. And Real Women's Network has already approached us and said, hey, if it's complete, it's of high quality, we want to put it on our streaming network and we want to submit it for daytime editing. So, right, and then the short, it was going to be a feature, then it ended up being, I was writing the script and it ended up only being like 29 pages. So I said, hey, it breaks up into about 5 or 6 minute episodes, like 5 or 6 pages, right? 30, right? So they said we could turn that into like what they call a limited series in digital programming, which is a soap for right? And their show Beacon Hill, which was on Real Women's Network, was nominated for a daytime Emmy. They didn't win, but they got nominated. It's hard enough to get nominated. So they said they would submit if it was, again, if they approved of it, if it was of quality, and the people I have involved, it's going to be of quality. So they're going to submit it. And I'm not saying that to brag. It's just that some of the names that I do have attached to it, you see, like they're attached to the movie O King Cole. And if everybody sees how good that looks, that means that's how good. It originally was titled The Finish Line, but now it's titled The Unlikely Assassin because it was more fitted.
And we're going to talk more about that at the end of the show, right? We have some cast members to introduce, and we'll talk a little bit about the project. And Brandon Bell's joining us. I'll have to text him at like 9:55. You both know this.
Yes.
Yes.
David was like right there. He's like, yes, you do.
You have to remind him for shows, but whenever.
Now, if he's watching right now, he might be mad. He might hit that link and come in and yell at me.
Yeah, well, maybe, but when it comes to showing up on set prepared and on time for all my movies that I've done with them, he's been on set, he's been prepared, and he's been nominated a lot.
Oh yeah, I've practiced lines with him. He's diligent. I mean, he's diligent, and we go through it until he has it. We did a scene for Hell City, which is the connected movie that's going to be coming out.
Okay,
and
you acted.
What's that? I'm Ernie the car wash guy.
Yeah.
I launder all of the money for the Boss Kings. I'm like important.
You're important, huh?
Take that. Every scene I'm in, I get beat up.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
But he had to say his lines like 20 times for one scene, as the new videographer was going around and getting still shots of everybody that's at the table, and he's good. He's a professional. So, but yeah, more about the unlikely assassin at the end. So let's start interviewing David so he doesn't like fall asleep or get bored or anything.
Sleep? What's that? What is sleep? I heard of that before. But
I bet you have. It doesn't sound like you get a lot of it.
No. What is that? Is that like something you can buy on Amazon Prime?
You have kids?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You don't know what it is. I don't know what it is.
No.
Amy knows what sleep is. Amy takes naps in the middle of the day sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes.
See, she can't lie.
Yeah.
What are you drinking?
do.
What are you drinking? What kind of cola?
Cola O. Generic Coke Zero.
Okay.
It's like Big K. You know what Big K is?
Mm-hmm.
That's the Big K soda.
Gotcha. Are you ready, Amy? You want me to ask him the first question?
I know. I can do this, I think. I just had a rough... So, David, I've heard a lot about you via Brandon, and we might as well start off at the beginning. Which came first, your ministerial journey or your filmmaking journey?
My ministerial journey was first. Yes, I've been preaching for, I've been preaching for at least, close to 17 years. And I've only been making films for the past, I'm going to say 13 years.
Okay. And which are you more comfortable with, or is it just different aspects of the same thing? How are they similar? How are they different?
You know, the stories in the Bible are just unbelievably good. And what I love about it is they don't sugarcoat nothing. When somebody do something wrong, they tell you, yeah, they messed up. You know, all King David's transgressions, great stories. And it's like I find that when I'm watching movies or when I'm making them, when things start to violate scripture, that's when the movie tends to go off the rails. And it's like you can only go so far past the guardrails that's set up in life before you start to disintegrate and nothing good can come from it. So everything that I do, everything that I see is through a minister lens, so to speak. You know what I mean? That's just how I exist, period. When I'm watching movies, regular movies, it's all the same to me. So I would have to say, you know, I don't see a difference.
Okay.
Yeah.
So so when you're working on films that are more what you would say secular, like yeah, like The Connected or
Yeah.
Health
Yes.
City,
Yes.
how do you bring that viewpoint to stories like that?
Well, first I give Brandon a lot of lectures. Okay. I'll call him up and I'm like, listen, man, let's talk about this. You know, can I pray for you? Can we do this? And sometimes, you know, he'll send me a script and I go over it and over it and I'll call him and I say, let's do this. And I say, can we knock back the swearing just a little bit? Now, you know, to me, you know, when I'm doing the secular stuff, I have cut back on doing more secular stuff. I have, because it's getting harder for me personally to, you know, just put those images and things out there. But man, people swear, people do bad
Yeah.
things, and not to show that is kind of, you know, it might take my minister's license for saying this, but most Christian movies that I watch, a lot of them are pretty bad. And it's like, you know, there is no, I mean, they are just bad. You know what's going to happen the whole way through, and they paint life as such that, you know, these can't possibly even be real people. So how can you be ministering to? Because it's not enough to, you know, keep the saved. We also got to reach the lost, and we can't reach them if we just giving them this Walt Disney picture all the time that people can't even live up to.
Such a great point.
Yeah.
It's really such a
Yeah,
great
you
point.
know, we talked actually a film festival director, Branson. She asked me. She said because she asked me a question at the end of our interview, and she said, "Let me tell you." She says there's sex, there's violence, there's like all that in the Bible, and if I'm showing what's in the Bible, do I keep it in there or do I take it out? I said, well, from my point of view, in order to stay healthy, I have to tell the truth. And I said, and if you're going to be truthful, it not to be like gratuitous, but if it's there in the story, you tell it. Now, I do also agree, you know, it doesn't have to be F this, F that, like every other word. Like,
Right.
but you can use it like seasonings, right? Like salt and pepper. Like you put a little bit in to make a point.
Right.
And so so are you thinking of movies like there's something called known as faith adjacent films. And one of the films I have in development is where they say you're preaching, you're not preaching to the choir. Like you said, you have to go beyond the choir, but you're also giving a different thing for them to like view that is usually there on a Friday night. So like the film I'm working on, The Assassin's Redemption, which has distribution. And we've got, you know, some people like TC Stallings and Kevin Sorbo and some people like that. It's not like what you would call a faith-based movie, but it has those light touches throughout, which lets you know that even though she's an assassin, it's called The Assassin's Redemption. So, you know, there are gonna be people who die, but it's not like a bloodbath, and and there is indeed people there's redemption at the end. So, do you see yourself going towards more that route, like faith adjacent versus secular films in the future?
That is a very good question. I have to say that I struggle with that, to be honest, be 100% honest. I struggle because the things that I want to do, I know the hardcore Christian community would not like. You know what I mean? Now, don't get me wrong. I don't think the cussing is necessary. I definitely don't think the sex is necessary. And all I ever hear is sex sells, sex sells. I'm like, who told you that? That's not true. It's just not true. I watched Black Panther, the movie. Great movie. Wasn't no sex, wasn't no people doing drugs every 5 minutes, except for the flower thing. That's different.
Yeah.
Gotta have superpowers, you know what I'm saying?
But
I'm like, what? Nobody watched Rocky and say, man, when him and Adrian got it on, that was just the best scene in the movie. Nobody says that. Nobody. So it's like, what are you talking about? And so I just make it a point. I don't use that stuff because I don't believe, at least in my style of filmmaking, that is even necessary. You can convey things. Whatever happened to the good old days when a man and woman walked in the room, closed the door, and then you cut to the next day? I mean, why you got to show everything going on behind? I'm like, man, it's just not necessary. So in my films, there is no swearing. There is no men and women getting it on. You know what I mean? I'm telling a story and we're sticking to the story. If there is a relationship that develops in the story, it's really light because that's not what I'm trying to push. Like my new movie, Prayer, is about forgiveness. These 4 girls was in the car. The one driving got into a bad accident. One girl died, one girl was crippled, and the other girl ain't nobody seen since she got out the hospital. And it's the lady, her name's Tiana, the main star, and her journey to forgive herself from trying to appease everybody and what they're looking for, because that's our issue. And like I said, I struggle with that because on one hand, everybody is saying, well, if you're going to make a Christian movie, you can't have this, you can't have that. You know what one of the best Christian movies I ever seen, and I can't even say this, but now it's like The Devil's Advocate. If you ever seen that movie, oh my goodness, that movie was brilliant. Al Pacino, Vanity, my favorite sin. Oh, when he said vanity, my favorite sin, and he's still at the end, the devil knows how to work you. And it's like the devil was lockstep with him the whole movie, telling him what to do, just to nudge him in the right direction not the right direction, the wrong direction that he wanted him to go in. And I'm like, that's just the way it works. You really have to be careful who's in your ear in your life. You really do.
That's an interesting perspective. I like that movie. I'm gonna have to rewatch it from that vantage point.
Yeah, because if you notice, sorry for interrupting, but if you notice in that, Al Pacino's character was so sly.
Mm-hmm.
He knew that this case that Keanu Reeves was working on was the biggest of his career. It was going to make him or break him. That's like saying, hey, Dave, guess what, man? Angelina Jolie, Brad Pitt, they right outside your door. Man, you got to go out there, man. They want you to direct a movie. They know you're a first time like big Hollywood director. And my wife is in there saying, I need you, honey. Can you come in here? I'm like, well, honey, let me go make this movie. Okay. Then I'll come back and then I'll be with you. That vanity that led him away, that destroyed his relationship. Stuff like that is real. That's to me is the real Christian thing, because it's not that everything in life is quote unquote evil. Because if you go to work every day and you're ambitious, that's not evil. But if you take it too far, it becomes a sin, because it takes you away from everything that you're supposed to be protecting, everything that you're supposed to, you know what I mean? It's a balancing act. And then you wake up one day and say, why does my wife want a divorce? Why don't my kids want to talk to me? Because you became a slave to where you were trying to go instead of being a just steward over the things that God gave you. Now, those are the type of stories I feel that are meaningful to tell. And that's
okay. I wanted to ask you about the film. Is it Gray Shadows?
Yes.
That you worked with Brandon on. What is that about? And tell me all about Gray Shadows, because I'm wanting to know about it.
Man, Brandon is unreal. Brandon is a great actor.
Yeah, amen.
He had to his girlfriend in the show, he was breaking up with her after he got out of college. So in the story, He went to college and graduated while she just, took care of home and made sure everything was straight. Then as soon as he graduated, he was like, okay, I'm done with you now. And she was like, oh, that's real convenient. Why couldn't you be done with me a year ago? Here I am making sure you got everything, doing everything for you. Brandon nailed that scene like I ain't never seen before. Boy, I tell you what, that man is unbelievable. He is a great actor. He has such presence on screen too. But Gray Shadows is about a doctor played by Aaron Green, and he discovered a cure for mental illness. And the company that he works for will not let him test it. And so he is really upset and his ego get the best of him. And so what they do is they go out and find homeless people and they test the drugs on homeless people and then watch them to see what their reaction is. Because the theory is, who cares about the homeless? If they die, nobody bats an eyelash. It's not like everybody screaming, what happened to them? You know what I mean? So, since that's just such a severe marginalized community that we all just turn our nose up to, they figure that that's a safe demographic to go after and test their drugs, since the company that they're working for won't let them test it. And it's I liked it. It was a good movie.
Speaking of Brandon, the first time I worked with him was on a movie called Broken, and it had 3 actors. And at the time, he was traveling with his brother, Sterling, and I didn't have a camera. And so Sterling ended up being my DP at the last minute. But what I was blown away, I knew he could act because I had seen him in Cleveland, or what's it called? Cleveland something.
Cleveland Allegories.
Yeah, Cleveland Allegories. I had seen that at Indie Gathering, and I met him at the 2016 Indie Gathering, and he was nominated. And his personality was just, how Brendan is. He's really good for setting morale. He's really, and if he really thinks you're talented, he's really good for your ego when you're feeling down. But the fact is, he's just really talented. I call him the Denzel Washington of Ohio because he just came in on that role. He played a amputee veteran suffering from drug and alcohol addiction and PTSD. And even though the technical aspects of the film weren't fantastic, the cast was so good, him, Maria, and Tara, that he got a lead actor nomination as Hollywood Dream.
Wow.
And the whole cast got nominated for Outstanding Performance by a Cast in a Short. And I know it was because Brandon was doing his thing. And I just remember we shot 25 pages in one day.
Oh, that's crazy.
Wow. I didn't remember that.
That is crazy.
Yeah, we shot 25 pages in one day. And at the end of the evening, we're enjoying a drink or two. And me and Brandon were the last man standing. And he says to me, Amy, everyone always casts me as a criminal or a thug. So this is the first time I played anything other than one, except I was in elementary school in the Shakespeare program. And I was like, oh my God, what a waste. You could be anything. Like you said, he played a kid, a guy coming home from college, and he breaks out. I mean, he could do anything. And the second movie I worked on, you know how he said, he took a scene, he said, Amy, listen, I've been in this place. I know how to do this. You wrote it perfectly, but I think I can add something. So I let him go. I gave him a little bit of a rope. And I said, you cheated on your wife? He said, oh, no, she cut my balls off. And then he proceeds to do the scene so well. I was like, I couldn't have written it any better. And he's so charming because he's cheating on his wife, but he's so charming that, I was like, oh my God, he was so good. he just blows me away. And then when I worked with him on Letters Today, he's gotten like 4 or 5 nominations for Letters to Daniel. So anytime I have an excuse to work with him, I
Oh,
say, come here.
definitely.
Yeah. Okay, so right now you're working on Hell City and you've worked on The Connected and you're talking about prayer. So why don't you tell us a little bit more about prayer and what other projects you might have in the oven, so to speak.
Well, I've been blessed because I'm staying busy. I'm working on a movie right now, written and directed by Des Peterson, called Trapped in the Elevator, and it's fun. I wasn't going to do it, but he's also a fellow Christian filmmaker, and he was like, come on, man, do this movie for me." And I'm like, okay, and it's been probably one of the best experiences I've ever had. Working with somebody, not being the director, because it's hard. Because when you write, direct, and edit yourself, and then you got to go onto someone else's set, and they wrote something, and you see things that maybe they didn't see, it gets hard because you don't want to step on nobody's toes. You know what I mean? But he was always open to anything I had to say. You know what I mean? I got treated with a lot of respect. But I did the cinematography on that, and I'm editing it. So we just kind of wrapped up on that. We got like maybe 2 more days to shoot, and then you know how hard it is to schedule people. So prayer, yeah, it's getting hard to get everybody on the same page with that. But we got an office scene with Terry Bisgrove, Tiana, and Laura Allen, and I love that. I wrote a little snippet in there because the mother and daughter don't get along, and the daughter says, "Yeah, I'm just waiting for you to yell no wire hangers." And do you know nobody got that reference?
Nobody. How old are they? Are they too young to get it?
Well, here's the kicker. Tiana got it. The main star, she got it. She said she laughed. But I thought that movie was a classic. How can you get no wire? How can you not get that? Well, that just lets me know I live in my head too much. But
we all do.
My partner in crime, that's her movie. She would go, "Wire later."
Yeah, but that's a lot of fun. So, in prayer, that's my big thing now. I mean, I got so much stuff. I got so much stuff going on with that. And I consider that a Christian film. I really do.
Yeah.
And like I said, it deals with forgiveness, because I think the biggest reason why, a lot of our mental health issues in this country is so off the charts, because we just don't forgive. We don't let anything go. And it's like, it's one scene in Star Wars, okay? Follow me. It's one scene in The Empire Strikes Back. Changed my life. Luke and Yoda was training in the woods, and they stopped, and it was a cave, and they heard noises coming from the cave, and he looked at Yoda and said, "What is that?" He said, "Nothing." So Luke picked up his lightsaber to go into the cave, and Yoda said, "Don't do that." And he was like, "Why not? What's in the cave?" And he said, "Whatever you take with you."
Oh, that's a good one.
So he didn't listen to Yoda, and he went in there with his lightsaber, and he seen Vader, and he fought Vader, and when he defeated him, his mask fell off, and it was him.
Right.
So to me, that is a lot of the situations that most people go through. It's like, what's in that church? Whatever you take with you. What's on that movie set? Whatever you take with you. You know what I mean? We always take this baggage and we just make it apply to everybody, whether it's there or not. And I think the fact that we just can't take things for what it is, forgive the people that, we need to forgive and move on, is what really hurts us as people, period. In our spiritual growth, or our normal growth, in our relationships, because we do more things wrong than other people, but all we can focus on is what happened to us. Like we've never done anything wrong. But when he said, "What's in there?" and he said, "Whatever you take with you," man,
that's profound.
That's
so,
next.
So before,
I wanted to ask. Okay, so I was gonna you started the shift to mental health, so thank you, Colin. I myself am diagnosed with bipolar anxiety and PTSD. I'm lucky to be stable. I take my medicine. They work for me. That's my journey. So, what I want to know, that's when you're talking about serious mental illness that really, because there are mental health issues. And oh,
I muted him.
Okay.
okay,
We'll unmute him in a minute.
Okay.
okay. So, what I want to know is, have you ever been affected directly or indirectly by someone or some situation with someone with serious mental illness, like bipolar or schizophrenia or clinical depression, stuff like that?
I know some people in my life who do suffer through that. I never had anybody like really close to me where I had to like see or endure or, be a
Be
part
a
of it.
caregiver?
Right, right.
Yeah.
I never had a situation like that at all. But those things really, and I don't want to make it sound like I'm really fascinated by it. I'm
It's
fascinated
okay.
by I'm fascinated by the mental, because when you talk about borderline personality disorder, bipolar disorder,
Yeah.
I didn't know there was different types of bipolar 1 and 2. I had no idea there
Yeah.
was.
And then they have cyclothymia, which is mostly hypomanic episodes, which,
Right.
yeah,
And
so it's on a spectrum.
right. And I've never really done that, but they fascinate me. You know what I mean? Just from movie story standpoints and stuff like that. That's what a
Right.
lot of my stuff tend to go towards. Like I said, in Gray Shadows, that's what they discovered a cure for, because the
Right.
things that haunt us, is really us. You know what I mean? I think we do our own harm to ourselves, because not to preach, but they said the Lord loved us so much that he gave. He gave. He didn't receive. He didn't say, "Hey, I made y'all, now what can y'all do for me?" He gave. And some of the best experiences you'll ever have in your life is if you go to a soup kitchen and help people. If it's like you get so uh enthused with energy when you buy gifts for somebody and you can't wait to see their faces. You know what I mean? And I think depression is when you are looking too much inward. It's all about what's inside of you, about what's going on, how I feel. And the way to escape that is to get out of yourself by doing things for other people. Now, I do understand there's a chemical imbalance. I do understand some of that stuff, is beyond, just the power of positive thinking. So I get that. But most of the things that go on in this country, because I think they said 60% of Americans are on some sort of antidepressant these days. And I think that's a little
Oh
bit.
no, no. I will say this. If you're supposed to be on it, it's like somebody said, "Oh, well, this makes me numb to all my creativity." This is how I know I'm on the right meds. I'm stable and I can still create, right? Like, right? I'm like, right? It's only gonna help your brain be clear and settled,
Right.
and there's also different. It's not like a panacea, right? Like prayer and meditation is part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Medication is part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Exercise is part of it. It's like this whole thing, and you got to have all these pieces put together like a puzzle. And of course, you know, as far as my church community goes, I love my church community. They were super supportive of me when I shot letters to Daniel. John got to meet the people at my church. They actually donated to the fund, to the budget, and they let me use the church to film in.
Oh,
So,
that's great.
and so I do understand that having a spiritual core is as much a part of the healing process as saying going to a psychiatrist and going to a therapist. It's all put together. It's like I like to say God maybe he said he gave these people these abilities and these gifts so you could go and get healed, and you add that to all that. And oh, somebody's on my website. um but what would you say is if someone was on your set and they were clearly in distress or having an anxiety attack, usually I cry. First, everything closes in, and then I just start to cry.
Hmm.
So, how would you recommend other directors? Prayer's good. A hug, sometimes I want a hug, but everybody's different. Some people need space.
Right.
What advice would you have to other directors um, on how to handle a situation like that?
Well, that's touchy. Um, Number one, if somebody is going through something like that, it's always more important than your project. If you get behind, if something goes off, we know sometimes it's tough when you got to pay money to be on a certain location and you only got a certain amount of time and somebody's having a breakdown. It wouldn't feel right to me just to keep going and telling them to like push through. I would have to take them aside, see what they're, you know what I mean? Ask them, what can I do? Find out if they need space, if they want to stop. I'm all for that, because at the end of the day, that's what's most important, is how that individual is going to survive that moment, because you just can't take stuff for granted. You just can't.
No, I recently lost a friend, not to anything mental illness. He had a heart attack. You want to, that's the relationship and the working, like, right. Even if you have to like stop and take time, ultimately, I feel like it will serve your project even more, because that person will appreciate that care and time you took with them.
Yeah.
So I hear Brandon has joined us.
One more thing before Brandon come in, because once he gets started, it's over. Once he gets started, it's over. But only here in the United States do we just look at one particular issue. Everywhere else in the world treats people as a whole.
Holistically,
It's not just that your body is messed up. They say, well, we got to fix your mind, we got to fix your diet. It's a whole body experience. It's everything working together as one. It's not that you can just, well, you are having anxiety, so we'll just treat that. Everywhere else in the world, they treat everything, and they have a better success rate of people actually becoming more of their authentic selves through looking at everything instead of just one thing. And I just wish we did that more over here in the States.
I would
Great
I
point.
agree with you.
Mind, body, spirit.
Yes, mind, body, and spirit.
And I agree with you about Brandon. Once it goes,
Yeah.
Now listen, they're dogging you now, Brandon. They're dogging you now, Brandon. But you should have heard what they were saying about you before you got in.
That's right.
They were singing your praises, talking about how awesome you were.
Come on, man, I'm just playing. And it's awesome, man, because Amy is my big sister, Dave is my big brother, and it's awesome having them both on. And I appreciate Amy for having Dave on. Dave has been an awesome mentor for me as a writer, as a film creator, and as a man as well. So, if there's any type of wisdom that anybody needs to get in the film game to keep their heads leveled and to keep them cool and composed, and even in times getting stressful, Dave is a great person to speak with, and to keep people with a level head. He does a great job on set of making sure that people are comfortable and everybody's having a good time. So he's a doctor. He's a regular old Dr. Phil, that guy.
I was going to ask him what his psychology background was, because you can tell he's rather versed. Star
Wars, Yoda.
Yeah, Star Wars.
Star Wars, Yoda. That's where he gets it from.
Yeah, I went to the University of Yoda, graduated, top of my class.
Top of the class.
I believe that.
Word up. Yeah, man. So yeah, so I'm just, and I'm blessed, like I say, I'm blessed to know Amy. She's been one of my biggest supporters, and I mean, we've done I don't know how many films we've done now together.
3, but we're getting ready to do our 4th.
4, I don't know what, like a dozen nominations. You know what I mean? I don't know, and, but I really, but it's but like I want to say, like, for real, Amy, we appreciate what you're doing with Recovery Unplugged. It's helping a lot of people. especially in the entertainment industry and beyond. So, and touching on mental illness, mental health, there's a lot of different there's a lot of unanswered questions in the quote unquote American society, like Dave touched on, but the answers are there. And I think, with more people discussing it nowadays more than ever, and more people are looking at different methods to deal with mental disorder rather than just before it was just psych hospital. Then it was just medication. And I think we're looking at options that can provide people long term benefits, along with keeping their health intact as well. So, thank you, Amy, because this is a part of what that is.
Yeah, thank you, Amy.
Oh, thank you.
All right, so now I'm done. There's no more go for me. See,
You're lying.
I'm
You're
in
lying.
and I'm out.
You're lying.
I'm in.
You're
I'm out.
lying. You are lying. Read my lips.
I'm in and out.
You are
I'm in and out.
lying. You're
I
lying,
don't even have
man.
enough phone
You're
battery to keep
lying,
going.
man. Come on.
No, I know. No, I gotta talk to you after this, so you gotta stay on, Brandon.
For sure. So yeah, yeah. See, I'm actually done. Like, I really don't have that much to say tonight. It's an easy breezy Monday.
Right.
I just wanted to come in and sing you guys' praises in the good chord. I think I hit the right high notes there, and sing you guys praises. John, John is great. Sitting back and oh, Amy, that's totally incorrect. Here's the thing. I want people to think that Ernie's an unimportant character, but when it comes down to the storyline and everything that's about to happen, Ernie is like the linchpin. Ernie is the man.
Ernie's the man.
Yeah, which means he dies in like the third scene. He died. Yeah. So you don't even know that. So yeah, that's how I go. I kill Ernie off real quick. That's how important he is, because everybody's like, "Oh, Ernie's dead. We gotta go get revenge for Ernie." You know what I'm saying? And then so it's all about you, man. And the way they murder you too, man. Like they force like Ernie to eat, like, because I got this torture scene. They force Ernie to eat all of these like uncooked hot dogs. It's crazy.
Yeah,
Uncooked hot dogs with no mustard, John. That's how. That's
okay.
Yeah, you're gonna have to do your own stunts in that scene too.
Okay, so John, I have to ask you something. There's one role I have left to cast, and it's the one where Del, he plays Julian, and he kills. At the opening scene, the heroine witnesses Julian kill somebody, like shoot, and so you need to be that person apparently, because makes you.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know what kind of career that's going to be for you, man. I mean, every movie you show, oh yeah, he's like, yeah, you'll be like the guy who wore the red shirt on the old Star Trek, and you beam down and you're as good as
like Sean Bain, right? In Game of Thrones, they have like the guy who played Ned. I forget what the last name of the
Stark. Ned Stark.
Yeah, right. They have a video on YouTube of all his movies and shows where he dies, clipped together. Like he dies in every.
But John, real quick though, the difference is with this in this movie, Ernie's no longer getting pushed; he's pushing back. You ready? Straight up, I got you, bro.
I do. I don't. I you know. Well, I just. I Well, I appreciate that. I just don't know. I can't say, oh, I noticed it. That's just how I've always been. You know what I mean? I, I that's just my thought process. Like I said, I wear everything with with the lenses of scripture, everything that goes through. Even Denzel Washington, when he did Training Day, at the end of that movie, that character wasn't going to die. And he said, no, he has to, because Denzel was a big Christian too. And he said, look, for everything that this person did, it don't make sense for him to live and thrive and prosper. That violates scripture. You know what I mean? And so that, from what I hear, yes. From what I hear, yeah. And he was like, no, because he tells them, when they ask him to be bad guys in certain roles and this, that, and the other, he makes sure that at the end of that, he gets what's coming to him, and it's not anything that's glorified from doing something wrong. You know what I mean? Because, yeah, I have always looked at stories in those lights, just basic stories. The Bible, which I preach on most of the time. Hmm. Oh, I'm sorry. My wife was talking to me.
It's okay. I figured something was up.
Yeah. Yeah, she said that she can't hear you
I know. I
talking.
apologize for that. Your wife is awesome, and she's on point.
Yeah, she is always. Always. All right. Yeah.
So,
So it's
yeah,
like,
what I was saying was you have an uncanny ability to take different concepts and tell the story. So the question was, because you couldn't hear me, was when did you realize, or when did you know that you had that ability to grasp and grab concepts from different mediums and different stories and be able to articulate them into your own words. So
yeah. Like I said,
yeah,
that's just something I've always done.
you do it
Always
well.
does.
You do it
So
well.
thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. No, one of my assistant, Terry Bisgrove, she helps me organize all the people and get them together.
That name sounds familiar. How do I know that name?
Because she's in the Connected. She
Okay.
plays the mayor's wife in the Connected.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, he's back.
Yeah, because I'm charged. Because for anybody that needs to know the backstory right now, there's a big saga that I'm writing. It's about my iPhone, right? So in the story of my iPhone, there's this battery that refuses to charge properly. So I got a different type of charger in the story, and now the whole crux of the story is, can the phone actually charge on this bootleg charger? And it apparently is not. So I have
No,
to lay it at a certain angle.
I think you're wrong.
And I
I think you're wrong. I think what happened was you have an Android phone pretending to be an iPhone just to try to get you.
No.
You need to get one of those
It's a phone.
cases. You need to get one of those phone cases that is a charger as well.
Yeah,
Yeah, I didn't even know they did those. See, I'm like, man, all right, well, I learn something new every day. So this is the Billy. Like, yeah, so it's me and my bootleg phone, so I apologize if I have to. Thank you, John. Amazon, I'm pretty sure I can find it there.
That's right. You sure can.
Okay.
Right on.
So
Yeah, I just don't want people just looking at my feelings.
Amy's trying to take her show over again.
Man.
God forbid. Y'all are great. I appreciate it. And it's been hard the last couple of days. It's been hard yesterday, when I found out my friend had passed. So I said I would need an assist on this one. So, but how about some fun questions?
I'm
So
ready.
if your life, okay, David, if your life were a movie, what would the title be?
Wow. Okay. If my life was a movie, what would the title be? It'd probably be something like "What Just Happened."
Okay, and if you could cast anybody in the known cinematic universe to play you in this film, who would it be?
Wow. Hmm. We have to go with Will Smith.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you had a chance to meet any of your writing or filmmaking hero?
No, I haven't. I can't wait to. But they always say never meet your heroes because you're always
Yeah, they did
Be
say
disappointed.
yeah.
Don't ruin it.
So,
Don't ruin
yeah.
it.
So maybe that may be a blessing in disguise that I haven't met any of them. Yeah.
Have you met any of your maybe ministerial, ministerial heroes?
Um, no, but TD Jakes, love TD Jakes. I saw him live once and he was like right in front of me, you know, didn't reach out and touch someone, of course, but yeah, that's the closest. Never just like met him, but in the same building, real close to him. It was amazing. It was amazing.
Okay, and finally, do you have any words of wisdom for, this is a two-part question, for those who are like yourself and and look at things through a scriptural lens or a ministerial lens when they're making films, and also if they are also struggling with mental health issues, what kind of words of wisdom do you have for them?
Well, the biggest problem that you're going to have is having unrealistic expectations. Rome wasn't built in a day. You're not going to have some blockbuster mega hit movie coming out with Mark Wahlberg and the Soul Train dancers in a week. It's not going to happen. Everything is a journey. Everything is a journey. As long as you can taper your expectations. You know, they say most people who go out and film a movie never do another one. And you say, why? Because they said to themselves, I'm going to go out and make a movie. And they did. Where else can you go now? They don't say, I'm going to go out and be a great filmmaker. You follow what I'm saying? So when you have these goals that you attain too easily, it's like the door in your mind closes. And it's like, so where do I go now? I've said I wanted to be in a movie. I was in a movie. So now I go. They set their sights too small. Or they set them too large, like I said, with the unrealistic expectations. So as long as you can keep your ego under control and don't think the world owes you anything because it doesn't owe you nothing, as long as you can keep those things set, reach out to people and ask for help. Don't be too scarred when you get turned down because that's all part of the process. I always say if you want to be a preacher or a filmmaker, fill out your workman's compensation papers because you're going to get hurt on the job.
Yeah.
Just how it goes. So as long as you can just keep your head about you, okay? Because really all the wars that you're fighting is on the inside of you. And as long as you can make sure on the inside you can keep peace, it's just a matter of time before everything else takes care of itself.
Yeah. Does anybody else have any questions for David?
I just want you to give a shout out to Walkstar and your wife, and then also tell people where to find you and hear more about your work and see more of your stuff.
Oh yeah, well my wife and me, we created. Now Walkstar came about because when Barack Obama was running for president, my son, he was real young at the time, the lady said, boy, he's really a Barack star. And my son looked at me and said, Dad, does that mean we're walk stars? And I said, yeah.
Yes, it does.
I think it does. And so that's where we got the name from. But yeah, you can find us on Facebook, on YouTube, on, anything. My wife is a great photographer, one of the best. I'm not just saying that because, I put a ring on it. I'm just saying that because she's actually great. If you want to see some of her photos, if you know somebody's getting married, if you need headshots, all that stuff, my wife is great for all that. And like I said, mostly when you go on Facebook or Instagram, it just leads you to all the other places that we are.
Right.
I am looking for people to be in my new movie Prayer. So if anybody's interested, now I can cast you to get killed if you aren't busy. Maybe you can get ran over by a car. Like as soon as the movie opens up, the credits like boom, dead.
Hey, I don't mind being typecast. I do not mind being typecast.
I wouldn't do that to you. Oh man.
When's production for Prayer start?
Oh, we already started. Like I
Okay.
said, right now I'm working on Prayer and I'm working on Des Peterson's Trapped in the Elevator. So those are the two, and I'm editing Hell City. You
Mm-hmm.
know, me and Vitaly Versace, the new director on Hell City, we talk often, and you know, we go over the because we just finished a new trailer.
I saw a new trailer on Instagram today.
Yeah, we just finished the trailer. You know, I added a lot of stuff. He calls and, well, I don't like this, I like that, and we went back and forth on that. So I like the trailer. It came out pretty good, and I have to turn work down. I have to introduce people and other people, and you know, I just Keith Collins. I just seen a movie from him. There's so many great local filmmakers, man. That is just doing good jobs. And I'm just like, man, I want to work with you, and I want to work with you. It's a good time.
Not enough time in the day sometimes.
Not enough time in the day.
Well, David, thanks so much for coming on Recovery Unplugged Live, man. We appreciate having you here. Great conversation.
Fun, nothing but fun. And just think, I didn't even kill you in this episode, so you actually lived through the whole thing. And thank you for
Just
having
kidding,
me.
I'm back.
No. Yes, fade to black.
And I know Brandon's still here, so we're gonna leave. We're gonna show the Old King Cole trailer, and then we're gonna show the actors that are gonna be involved in The Unlikely Assassin.
Yes.
That's coming up. Tell us a little bit about that, Amy. We're gonna let David go, and thank you very much for your time, sir. And we will see you. Especially looking forward to more work on Hell City and prayer.
All right. Thank you so much for having me.
All right, man.
All right. Be blessed.
Yep, you too.
Okay,
All right,
The Unlikely Assassin tells the story of it is a limited series. Some would say, like, on the festival circuit, it would be called a web series, but in daytime Emmy language, it's digital programming. So this story takes place over a season, and there's 5 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
And it's about a young woman whose family was assassinated, and she's out. You don't really know much about her other than her mom and dad and brother were killed, and that she's out. She's a runner, and when she's out running one night, she sees the mob boss, Del Weston, Julian, the character of Julian, murder, someone who double crossed him. And and after he shoots the double crosser, he realizes there's somebody who sees him, and there's a chase through the woods of the park. They're going straight up hill, and he gets her to a point. She trips just as she gets to the top of the hill, and he puts he's going to kill her, and she basically says, "Go ahead," like she dares him, and he's fascinated by this, and he chooses not to kill her, and by taking her in, this creates friction between him and his daughter. And so the part of Julian is played by Del Weston. The part of Lucy is played by Virginia Bell, aka Jenny, who played Missy in
Letters to Daniel.
Letters to Daniel. The part of Vanessa, of Julian's daughter, is played by Ana Maria Ingles, who played my mother in Letters to Daniel. And Vanessa's husband, Vanessa is a bit of a Lady Macbeth. So she's manipulating her husband and her father because she wants that position of power. And so the part of her husband, I can't think of his name right now, but the character's name is played by Brandon. And there is a smaller part, Vincent, who is Vanessa's former boyfriend, and he's kind of like Julian's trusted confidant at this point. And he's in 2 or 3 scenes. And that part is played by Nathan Day, who I worked with on the set of Back on Top. and he's been a guest on Recovery Unplugged. So he's an author, actor, filmmaker, and his script Apostate is nominated at AOF.
Gotcha. All right. Well, we have Brandon on here. We're waiting. We're going to talk with him about The Unlikely Assassin. We're going to get out of here, and we will see you all next Monday for another Recovery
I'm still
Unplugged
here.
Live. Yeah, I know. We're going to talk offline. I'm telling the audience that we're going to get out of here of the live broadcast. Next, you're going to stay on and talk to us.
All right.
Next Monday, everybody, we have Matthew Mark Hunter from MMH Productions, another G1NBC Cuyahoga County content creator, and that's it. We're going to show you the Old King Cole trailer, and we're going to talk behind your back. So we will see you all next Monday.
Monday.
I came from the mud. There's dirt on my hands. Strong like a tree. There's roots where I stand. Oh, I've been running from the law. Try to catch me howling at the moon. stage for me. You set me up so high, I have no worries. You did not hide your face, did not turn me away. Of you, Lord, I will sing and tell my story.